Tandem Nomads, episode 287, part 2. In fact, in the previous episode, I shared with you that it was Tandem Nomads' 7th year anniversary. And in that episode, I was digging deeper into the highlights and the learnings and the transformations. In this episode, I want to share with you how Tandem Nomads evolved through actually the people who have been involved in this journey. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show and entrepreneurship platform where you can find great inspiration and resources to grow a successful portable business that is aligned with your lifestyle and your priorities. This is your host, Emel Deregi. I'm a business and marketing coach and the founder of Tandem Nomads. And what I am as well is extremely and deeply grateful for the people who have been part of my journey in the 7 years. And if you haven't listened to the previous episode, I dive deeper into the steps and the journey and the evolution around my business in the past 7 years. I share the highlights, the learnings, the transformations, the evolutions, and even some of the next steps of this journey. But today and here in this episode, I really want to focus on the people. You, first of all. Thank you so much for actually listening to this episode, for giving me your attention, for spending your time with me, for listening to it while doing your cooking or driving, commuting, whatever you're doing. Hopefully you're doing it safely. I'm already feeling that emotion before even I go into this episode, but I need to take a moment to thank you. Like I said, thank you, the listeners. This podcast would have not continued if I did not feel your energy, your attention, your feedbacks, your motivation, your support along this journey. So thank you for listening and being part of this community. I want to also say a big thank you to my clients. In the past 7 years, I've been supporting over 100 clients across the world. I have not calculated how many countries, but for sure across the 5 continents. But none of this would have been sustainable if it wasn't for the clients that have been trusting me along the journey and along the changes and evolutions of Tandem Nomads. So I can't tell you how grateful I am for your trust and for letting me be part of your journey and your growth as well. I'm just going to take a second to mention the clients I've been working with in the past year. That has been an important year for me. So Anna, Arlette, Emily, Joy, Katja, Oscar, Steffi, Tatiana, thank you so much for being part of this past year. And thank you for making me be able to support you along your own journey. Your trust means the world to me. And I want to add to that some of the clients who have been working with me during one of the hardest years, which was 2021. So big thoughts and big thank you to you, Kathy, Daniela, Florence, Katie, Laura, Rhoda, Sophia. I can't thank you enough. I could continue to have this big list, but I also want to mention, although I can't mention all the names, all of you who've been part of my online programs, such as the Portable Business Accelerator online course and the workshops and the boot camps that I've been doing. I love those as well. And although I can't support each of you one-on-one, I love that I can have these programs to be able to support those of you who want to work with me in a different way. So thank you so much for being part of that journey. It means the world to me. And without all of my clients, I would not be here. I would have not been able to sustain this business for 7 years and create the life that I want, create the freedom that I want, create the fulfillment that I need to be able to enjoy this journey and feel full of gratitude and joy in my day-to-day life. So thank you so much. I already thanked you, the listeners, but in general, I'd love to thank the Tandem Nomads community that you're part of. No matter if you are part of the community through this podcast show, through my newsletter, and I love when you answer to my emails. I love when you keep reading it. It means the world to me that you are part of the emails that I send to you every week or every other week. Those of you who are part of my social media channels as well, I really consider you energetically as each individuals, and I see you and I love you and I hear you. I also want to thank all of you that are part of the Tandem Nomads community through our one-on-one relationships and discussions and thoughts and brainstorming and collaborations. It means the world to me. Last but not least, I want to thank the families in Global Transition community that has been part of my journey since the beginning, and it means the world to me to know that there is a community such as FIGT that has been so amazing since the start of Tandem Nomads. I cannot continue without thanking my team. I would not be able to be here and to enjoy my business, to focus on my zone of genius, to do what I love most without having to get burnt out. And I have to say that without my team, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I want to say a big thank you to Sarah Black. Sarah has been part of my team for 4 years and a half. She's been the longest standing team member of Tandem Nomads. She recently started a new journey of her own as well. I'm wishing her an amazing journey ahead and continuous growth and success. But I can't tell you how much Sarah has been part of the Tandem Nomads growth, and I can't thank her enough for us sticking along through the highs and the lows of everything we've been through together. So it means the world to me. I also want to thank Sabine, who joined the team for the past year and who has also been a huge important pillar of all the systems that I have in place to automate my business and make it roll so that I can focus on you, Nomad Nation. Also, in the same way, I need to thank Kath Brew, a great friend of mine, and I'm so lucky to have such a person with whom I can rely on for this podcast show. Kath is the person who actually edits and manages the production of this podcast, and I'm so grateful to her. It's so good to have been able to rely on her anytime I needed her, even when we needed to react very quickly on short deadlines. She's been there. So I'm really, really grateful to you, Kath. I know you're listening. Thank you so much. And we do have new members in the team that I really want to thank. We already started working together and it's been amazing. So Petra, thank you so much for being part of the team and joining us. Gina and Lawrence, I'm so happy to have you part of this team as well. And I can't wait for this journey together. I cannot move forward without mentioning a couple more people. I'm so sorry this is taking so long, but I need to mention, and hopefully while I mention them, you also get to see, a little bit about my behind the scenes. And the next person I want to mention is Sunday Bean. I've been mentioning her very often in my podcast because she is that peer, that friend, that partner. We worked together on so many projects. She's also been my coach. She's been my cheerleader, and we had so much fun. But honestly, on top of it, it's so precious to have somebody in your industry that does something similar, but we never consider each other competitors because we do have our different ways of doing things. But it's so precious to be able to have somebody you trust and you can talk to openly and share information and discuss. And this is so precious. So I can't thank Sunday enough for all the fun we had together, and I can't wait for the next years together. All right, so there's another thing I want to mention too. You know how I often repeat in the podcast how important it is to support yourself with the right people around you. As the expression says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. There are this group that I'm going to mention, my mastermind, we call each other the online mafia. We've been seeing each other every single week for 2 hours for the past 3 years. And we've been supporting each other in our growth, mainly in business, but also personally. And I can't thank my mastermind enough for this. So Agnieszka, Catherine, Kashia, and Nicole, what an amazing journey. We know each other inside out. We've seen each other grow, and it's just priceless. So thank you so much. I cannot finish this round of gratitude without mentioning my husband, Michael. My husband has been my rock, and he's been through all the ups and downs of Tandem Nomads journey and my personal ups and downs obviously as well. So I can't thank you enough, baby. Thank you for being my rock. Thank you for believing in me, even when I struggled to do so. Last but not least, I'm going to quote Snoop Dogg here. For those who don't know this rapper, Snoop Dogg said something, and I need to say it to myself too. I want to thank myself. I'm going to make you listen to this small extract from Snoop Dogg.
Last but not least, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work.
And I hope that you do that too when you look at your journey. I want to thank myself for the amazing dedication, commitment, and love that I've put into my work in the past 7 years, and the amazing growth, and how much I've had to push through my comfort zone is unbelievable. I'm a different person thanks to Tandem Nomads, but also thanks to me. So I want to thank myself for my resilience and growth and for pushing through even through the hard times. And I want to thank my business. I feel like Tandem Nomads and my business has its own energy. It's like it's an entity on itself, a little person on itself. But I'm so grateful for the business I've created. I'm so grateful for Tandem Nomads because thanks to that, I managed to create the life I always wanted, especially in the times where I needed to be available for my family. So and now we're going to dive a little bit into the topic of today, but and sharing with you behind the scenes and the highlights and the challenges and the learnings, most importantly, of this journey. But so it's really hard to say this, but there was a very strange coincidence that the Tandem Nomads anniversary fell on the same day as the passing of my father. So I'm actually celebrating Tandem Nomads anniversary a few weeks after the actual date. So Tandem Nomads has been launched in November, and we are launching this in the month of December. So I decided to give myself a little bit of a grace time because emotionally, I just, of course, like a lot of people who might have lost a loved one, it's not easy. When we pass that threshold of the first year, it's almost more painful. I mean, I'm not going to talk about grief in this episode, but basically my point was that before my dad passed away, he was extremely sick. And those who have been following me, you know that I've been going through a hard time while he was basically dying and living his last months of his life. I was also moving from the United States to Austria, and I remember having to commute all the time from country to country to be here to manage the move with my husband, at the same time be closer to my family and support my dad through his last days. So I would have not been able to do this if I didn't have a business that actually allows me to do that and clients who allow me to do that. Actually, I did not stop working during this whole phase. I continued to work. I took 2 weeks after his passings officially. Although during the next year, I actually really focused on myself while the business was still running. But I really want to thank the clients, and this is why I mentioned the ones of the previous year who actually have been through this difficult time of my life, because it actually was such an amazing thing to have something else to focus on besides the sorrow and the pain that we were going through as a family. It was such a window of fresh air to actually, I remember I was running some coaching sessions with my clients in the hospital, and it was so good to have that window of escape from the hardship. So I'm so grateful for my business to allow me to do that. I could also chose to take the time off if I needed to, but I needed this business to stay motivated, to stay positive. So I'm really, really grateful that this business really helped me even through the hardest time in my personal life. So yeah, I think I needed to share that with you as well, because this is one of the biggest things that I take away from the past years in my business. All right, so I'm sorry I got a bit emotional towards the end. I really promised to myself in this episode and the part 1 as well to try to keep it together. But at some point I had to crack, right? But anyways, I really, really enjoyed being part of this journey with you, and I can't wait to continue this adventure together. And thank you again for listening and being part of this journey. And if you have anything to share, your feedback, your journey, if there's anything you want to share about your experience with Tandem Nomads and maybe how it has impacted you or supported you, I would love to hear more about it. So the best way to connect with me is via Instagram by DM, search for Tandem Nomads, or email me at connect@tandemnomads.com. I love being able to connect with my listeners and hear more about your stories and your journey. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And I can't wait to continue this journey and help you, continue to support you and motivate you to turn your challenges into great opportunities.